We're back. Own Their Phones. I'm Matt Plapp.
I'm Sean Walchef.
This is Own Their Phones, baby, episode 4.
Fired up. Let's get after it.
We'll be back. Okay, Sean, episode 4. We are about, I think, like 6 weeks into working together on a couple parts of what we do at America's Best Restaurants for Restaurants. I guess first I'll ask you, I don't know your opinion, but what are your thoughts so far on the limited stuff we've rolled out and what you've seen compared to what you've done in the past? And then we'll show some results and get into it.
Well, I think one of the most exciting things is understanding the CRM side of what America's Best Restaurants and your entire team is building out for us, because we've spent 15 years building our restaurant brand and adding Facebook, adding Yelp, adding Google, adding all of these different tools, social media tools, but we haven't had literally a database, an active database that wasn't on MailChimp or wasn't on, email. It was just, it's all over the place. Now your team is helping us cultivate a VIP list, a true VIP program that is not just automated, but it's actually run by your team, by you, by me, by my team. And you're starting to deploy things that people are getting really excited about. When I came out to Florence, Kentucky, to America's Best Restaurants headquarters, I was talking about the 25,000 Facebook fans that we've literally neglected. And I apologize to those fans. I'll always apologize to those fans. But there's so many people that use Meta, the big daddy of them all, the big social media platform, that they love our brand. They've been supporting our brand. They've been fans of our brand. They've been waiting for content. They've been waiting for a call to action. You've given them that call to action, and that call to action they're engaging with, and they're starting to sign up to become part of the loyalty program. We're getting information that we never got. How often do you come to the restaurant? And that's something that's really exciting to us, because then we can start to add in all these other pieces. We can start to add in TikTok and Instagram and email and Ovation and all these other tech tools that we have. Now we can start to really build this dynamic, robust data place where this is the heart of our brand. These are the people that support our restaurant. Plus it's pulling people into the funnel. It's literally connecting that divide that we've never had.
Yeah. And the part that crushes me the most with restaurants is, if you go to americasbestrestaurants.com/stats, STATS, it's the stats from visits that me and my team have made all over the country to restaurants, the vast majority independents. And the biggest stat on there that it breaks my heart is the fact that it's like 97% of restaurants aren't engaging people inside the four walls. And then I want to say it's something like 66% aren't engaging them on their website. Yep. And then like 90% aren't engaging them on social media. And I had a post I made the other day because I was actually comparing social media engagement. And one of our guys on our sales team made a comment. He said, hey, the reason your Facebook marketing is not working is that you're posting advertising. He was telling this to a pizza brand. He said, Facebook wants to get paid when you post an ad. They have no problem pushing out engagement, but when you post an ad, they want to get paid. And so the goal of is you've got to get people to engage. And looking at a national, a post for Papa John's recently, 6.7 million fans on their Facebook page. And the post on their page had the exact level of engagement as Basilio's in Minnesota. They had 500 fans. So 1,400 times fans more, same engagement, because Basilio's using the platform, right? So with you, what we do and what we do with all restaurants, we've got about 50 blue ocean tactics. You can look up blue ocean, red ocean if you want to after this, but we talk about tactics that restaurants can be using. And the most basic elements, what we started you with, is what we'll share here on my screen, is database activation, is trying to get people on the front end to talk to us and give us their information. So let me zoom in here a little, make this a little easier to read. I just realized it looked like we were on an eye chart there for a second. Can you see that okay now?
I can see it now.
There we go. So when we look at this is Sean's stats. And some of the stuff I'm going to show you today, we don't always show everybody, but I'm going to talk about the front end of this because we're about a month and a half in. And the goal as we go through this podcast over the next year, 2, 3, who knows, it might be 5 years. And Sean and I are old men and we're on walkers and we're sitting here talking about this. But the main goal on the front end when we start this is impressions. How do we get somebody's attention on Facebook right here and Instagram on paid ads to get them to engage? So in this
Yep.
case, when I look at your stats, let me click here. I want to look at one tab and just so I can say when we started. I want to say it was like the end of April. April 25th. So we are, was that 6 weeks? Pretty safe?
Yep.
So we're about 6 weeks in. And those 6 weeks, get rid of reach because reach can be duplicated on this dashboard. So we don't really have that there. I don't know why we even have it anymore, to be honest with you. But we have 86,000 impressions, meaning that maybe Matt Plapp lives in your area and saw the ad or the post and different things 10 times. That's 10 impressions, one person. What's an important number here is this frequency. This is where you don't want to get out of control. And what frequency tells me is how many of those impressions are duplicated. So right now our frequency is 1.12, which means the average person has seen the marketing 1.12 times, which means they aren't being beat over the head. And I've seen campaigns where that's 8 or 9, and it's like danger zone, because if people are seeing something 8 or 9 times, that means they haven't taken the desired action. They haven't taken the desired action. They probably don't give a shit, right?
Yep.
And so down here, it goes to engagements, because our next thing is how do we get impressions to go to engagements? 2,656 engagements. Now, what I like to see is on this first page, when I look at this and I say, look, 2,556 people engaged. And it's funny, as this was 777 right before I went to live a minute ago, 778 people have started the process and said, hey, basically, what is that? About a third almost? About a third of the people that engaged said, I'm interested in what Cali BBQ is cooking. And the first thing we ask them is, how often you come to the restaurant? New, frequent, or lost? We're basically asking them a question that says, I think it's something they pick below the choice with which best fits your description of how you visit Cali, something like that. I'm butchering that, I'm sure, but it's also not my department anymore. That was years ago. But they basically choose, I've never been before. I come all the time. I rarely come. And that classifies us new, frequent, lost. And why I put that in there was I think it's important to understand and optimize. So understand, number one, who's engaging. Number two, optimize. Because if I get a program that's got 99% new people and I'm optimizing my ads on 99% new people, I'm optimizing on the wrong people. So we're optimizing on frequent. And then I've got lost. So in this case, we can see that, and I'll predict that in 4 months, 5 months, this will be 33, 33, and 33, because that's just what happens with the algorithm as it levels out and we start getting the same amount of frequent, new, and lost. So of those people, 546 have already given us their phone number, 520 their email, 400 their birthday. And so what will happen is now they're put into a 90-day trickle that they're going to get text, email, Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, based on what actions they take or don't take. And what's cool about it is the messaging changes, and people don't realize how important this is. If I've never been to Cali BBQ and the text message or the email says, Matt, we're looking forward to your first visit, people's brains trigger that, right, Sean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the next element down here at the bottom is understanding, are we finding the right people? Because there's a very good point here on this bottom left. It's called the redemption percentage. That means that of those people above the 778, 10.15 have physically come to the restaurant and used one of the offers. And so in under 6 weeks, we've activated 10%. You've got a long restaurant marketing background. You know, my historical sales pitches from every company around, direct mail was 2 to 4%. Was, hey, when we send out 500,000 direct mail pieces, 2 to 4% are going to come in. What to you is a good number? Like, what would you be blown away by on that bottom? And what would you be like, okay, that's doable?
For the redemption rate?
Yeah.
5%.
Okay. So 10% gets you somewhat excited.
10% gets me excited. I'll get more excited once that number keeps going up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I'd like to see it. Barbecue's a different animal. We've had a chicken tender concept because chicken tenders, for whatever reason, nobody wanted them 30 years ago. Now it's a chicken tender world. But chicken tenders, we've had a concept had 44% redemption. And I was like, geez.
Wow.
Like, I didn't know we were that damn good, but I mean, every other person, we have 10%, and then you can see 98 redemption. So what's cool about this too is that if I go to the sales dashboard, it'll show me that 79 of those redemptions are the people's first offer. And then we
Mhm.
give them, I want to say 3 or 4 offers in your program. We typically, with most clients, will have like a very sexy offer,
Yep.
a declining offer, a free dessert, a free appetizer. We're trying to get them different places. And by the way, do you listen to the Restauranttopia podcast? You've been on that.
I have not been on it yet, but no, I'm familiar with it for sure.
You haven't been on the Restauranttopia podcast?
I don't know. You know a
Okay.
guy? I don't know a
I know
guy.
the guy. I will get you on it. Those guys are awesome. So I was
Awesome.
on it a month or so ago. Well, yesterday they released an episode about discounting versus free. And I
Yep.
think this is an important thing to talk about because me as a marketer, the last thing I want is my restaurant clients conditioning their customers for discounts because Cali
Right.
Barbecue's food is freaking awesome. I don't need a discount. But when you're bribing people with free to get data, it's a little different. In their podcast, he made a comment. He said, when you discount, people become loyal to the discount. When you
Yes.
give away, people become loyal to you because you just gave them a perk.
Yep.
And so this 98 means that 19 people of these 79 have already come back and used a secondary offer in there. So at the end of the day, our cost here, we've spent $585.79. And that's on Facebook and Instagram ads. And what I think is important to point out here is that at $589.79, the number one thing it was meant to do was run advertising. And it did it. 86,000 people, 2,600 engagements. So that's the
Yep.
first thing it did. The second thing it did was build a database of 778 people, 400
Yep.
birthdays, some cell phone numbers, some emails. The third thing it did was, hey, can we recoup part of our investment on the front end? It got a net sales of $4,316.
Yep.
So it's about if you just compare it number head to head, like we spent this much money on Facebook ads, we got this much in sales. It's a 7-to-1 return, 8-to-1 return.
Yep. I mean, for me, the mail, the birthday is
Yeah.
huge. 400 birthdays. That's
Yeah.
the most memorable time for people.
I had a client recently, we were looking at their program and we were trying to find ways to optimize it. And I looked at it and they've been with us for 2 years. 2 years this July, late July this year, 2 years. Their average week had 161 birthdays.
Amazing.
Like the average week across the year. And I told him, I said, man, I want you to envision, because one of the things we're going to put in place here in the next 45 days, whether it's your team or my team, Sean, we're going to figure it out, is
Mhm.
how to call those people. Is that when
Yep.
somebody's birthday, when their birthday, they get a reminder, text and email 7 days ahead, that 6 days ahead, somebody picks up the phone and says, hey, happy birthday.
Yep.
Matt from Cali BBQ. Just want to call and say happy birthday. Check your emails, check your text. You got something awesome from us. That's all I got. See ya. It'll blow people's minds when you do that.
100%. I agree with you. 1000%. I love that.
And so another element, which I'll show here, let me share a different tab. I want to show the ads because I think this is important if we're going to be completely transparent. So let's go share ads, share screen. So while I'm doing that, any feedback, any thoughts, anything you see or anything you've heard from your staff or?
Well, I mean, I think the next step is the inside the four walls. You know, it's really getting my team to buy in, getting the staff to buy in, and figuring out the best way to deploy that, not just at our master smokehouse, but then how do we leverage that at our friendly ghost kitchen locations, because
Yeah.
people aren't actually coming into the store. So how do we create, you know, the compelling QR code that drives people to sign up from a delivery order?
Yep. So I'm going to show you what I look at. So I'm in the back of Ads Manager, and I'm going to show you a couple things. Number one, I always customize my performance down here. So what I look at, I call it ROI. I look at reach, impressions, engagements, new messaging connections, cost per new messaging connections, and amount spent. And the reason I look at these items is that all marketing starts with reach. And I want to see what ads are reaching people and what aren't. And then I want to look and see what kind of impressions I'm getting for reach, so my frequency is not crazy. And then next, I want to see what kind of engagement I get. And you'll notice on this bottom part, let me go to lifetime here. You'll notice this bottom section, we only spent 136.41 on versus 429. These are in essence the same post, but the call to action is different. Because what we do is I'm a freak when it comes to optimization. That if I have $1 to spend, and I can spend it 2 places. I want to spend it to the place that's the correct place. So in this case, I can look and see that I know this post, while it got reach and it got impressions, if I were to add a different thing in here, I want to go to comments. Let me go down here because that ad was optimized on comments. And when we look at how much it costs to get a comment, that's an important aspect, because what we do is the way we have your stuff built, Sean, is that, let me put this up here, is that we're optimizing that when people comment on that ad or when they click send a message, is it puts them into that funnel. So when I look down here and I say, hey, okay, we got $136.41 and we got 59 comments. Now there's a couple things that come to play there. Number one, if maybe the page isn't as optimized as possible, or maybe it hasn't had a ton of attention, or it doesn't have the level of engagement it needs to have, or Facebook sometimes honestly doesn't like what they would consider baiting posts like that, and that we're trying to get people to comment. Now we do it correctly. We don't say when or free, but we tell them to comment what their favorite item is below, but they don't always optimize them great. So you can look at this and do the math and say, okay, 136 divided by 59, that's almost $3 a comment. Whereas up here, the call to action on this message ad is click send a message below. Facebook likes that a lot more because, as I mentioned earlier, when you run advertisements, Facebook wants to be paid.
Yep.
And so that opt-in ad is a way on our end to trick the algorithm a little, that if I can get people to comment, I'm not getting charged like I would be on the send message. So that's why they don't optimize them as much. So we always try both, because I've had clients that have gone berserk. I had one client a couple years ago had 7-cent comments. And so in your case, we looked at it and put in perspective, a KPI, key performance index for us, is that for a barbecue restaurant like your restaurant, at the 6-month period, we're going to be at about a $2 cost per message, which means that every time somebody opts in for the first time, it's $2, which isn't bad, because what's your average check, Sean?
About $45.
Okay. So it's not a bad deal to spend $2 to get somebody's information and then give them a $3 to $4 food cost item. So you can see now, though, we're still getting comments. Like, this ad has still gotten 48 comments, even though we're not telling people to comment. They're more than likely comment like this place rocks. But we also have got, 744 new messaging connections at 58 cents a pop. So that's the reason we turned this ad off, was we turned both of these on simultaneously. Day 1 and about day 10. So I'm guessing $10 a day was probably the budget here. So day 13, our acquisition team looked at it and said, okay, we're spending $10 a day and getting 60-cent opt-ins here. We're spending $10 a day getting $3 opt-ins here. If we turn off this comment ad, we shift our money up here. We just got way more efficient.
Yep.
Any questions, comments, feedback here?
No, it's exciting. I mean, it's exciting. Like I said, this is the thing, knowing that your expertise and your team can deploy this for your restaurant clients, and for somebody like me that cares as much as I do about marketing, branding, media, storytelling, I don't have the resources. And by teaming up with you guys, I can worry about all the other big blue ocean, red ocean problems that we do. But that's what's exciting. Honestly, that's what's exciting, is that we can really maximize what you guys do. You have the best of the best. I mean, the people that I met when I went out there, I couldn't believe how you've recruited people all over the globe to join, literally the best place for digital marketing of restaurants. That's what you're building. And it's exciting as hell.
Yeah. I mean, our focus is, how do we help independent restaurant operators like you? Because there's an option. You can outspend the big boys, or you can outsmart them. And I can tell you right now, from dealing and having conversations with a lot of the corporate offices at the big companies, which is why we quit going after them, it ain't that hard to outsmart them. It's just a matter of putting in the work. So that's the first step. And as you said, we're going to work our way through a lot of tactics. And one thing I always make sure restaurants know is, like, Rome wasn't built in a day. Don't expect everything to launch at once. But in this case, we're on the acquisition of the ads. Next would move to in-store. The website pop-up is live. The next thing for me is to look at your website and say, where else can we put our tools to make sure that the same tool's being used? But
I need to make sure I send you guys, we're redoing our website again. So I'll make sure to send you guys the beta.
Cool. Love it. Well, that's all we've got for episode 4. Own their phones.
Own their phones.
Anything? Sean, how best way people can find you on social media?
At Sean P. Walchef, ShawnPWalchef. That's LinkedIn, that's Twitter, that's Instagram, TikTok. Follow me. Let us know you found us on the show. I will follow you back. I will engage with you. We believe a rising tide lifts all ships. Restaurant owners, we're going to have Matt Plapp and his team going to join us on Clubhouse. We do that every Wednesday and Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's a great community of restaurant owners. So we're trying to build a place where restaurant owners, we can all come and share ideas with experts like Matt. So please join us on there as well.
Love it. And of course, you can check out owntheirphones.com. That's the website for this podcast. It's got how to contact Sean, how to contact me, and it'll have all the episodes and a lot of the highlights from past episodes as well. That's all we got. We'll see you next episode.